Alrighty guys, we're back for Nightmare Detectives, and this is a Murders at Karlov Manor standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. So, this is a detective build that's aimed to utilize Braids, Arisen, Nightmare as much as possible. This is a 3-mana, 3/3 legendary creature, but we still have all 4 of them in here anyways because I do think it's going to be a key part of the build. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. If you do, each opponent may sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with it. For each opponent who doesn't, that player loses 2 life and you draw 1 card. So in this build, we're going to try our dandiest to get as many permanents slammed down on the board as possible that we just wouldn't mind sacrificing. So we got a bunch of great 1-drops like Greedy Freebooter, not fitting the detective theme, but my goodness, is this a good card to go ahead and sacrifice. As a 1-mana, 1/1, when it dies, scry 1 and create a treasure token too. So a little bit of mana fixing, or you could end up like sacrificing that treasure token to the Braids as well. We also have Novice Inspector in here, a 1-mana, 1/2 human detective, and when it enters the battlefield, you investigate, so you get a clue token. Very nice. We have other stuff in here that we wouldn't mind having on the board as we're sacrificing things like Homicide Investigator here. This is a 2-mana, 2/2 human detective, and whenever 1 or more non-token creatures you control die, investigate. Okay. This ability triggers only once each turn, unfortunately, but that does include like the opponent's turn too, so if we have some instant speed things to potentially have our creatures die, or if you're just like blocking something too, right? Trading into something or chump blocking something would totally work for this, except it does say non-token on there. And unfortunately, that means cards like Drag the Canal, the tokens from this, won't work with Investigator, but that's totally fine. Drag the Canal is a 2-mana instant speed, create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. If a creature died this turn, you gain 2 life, surveil 2, and investigate. Oh my, so that's a lot of things. So like I said, if you end up just like chumping with a creature and it dies, you can get a whole bunch of value in this build. Same concept if you have like Vraan on the board too, Executioner Thane. This is a 2-mana, 2/2 legendary creature. We got 2 of them in here. Whenever 1 or more other creatures you control die, excuse me guys, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Beautiful. And unfortunately, this ability triggers only once each turn, but that does again include the opponent's turn as well. So nice. Not half bad, dude. So the deck is going to take a little bit of setup. Hopefully we get a bunch of stuff that we just wouldn't mind sacrificing or chump blocking with, right? But then outside of Braids, what else do we have in here that can help us sacrifice? Well, Fanatical Offering is one of the instant speed ones, thank goodness, because a lot of them are sorcery speed. This is a 2-mana instant speed as an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice an artifact or a creature. So the fact that you could sacrifice artifacts, of course, is going to really come in handy too, because when you are getting a bunch of clues from like Inspector or the Investigator, then sacrificing a clue instead of a creature might be the better option, right? So you draw 2 cards, then you create a map token. So what's nice about Fanatical Offering is it plays into itself. So if you have a second one, you can always sacrifice the map token that was generated from the first one. So that is pretty nifty, man. That's a good amount of card draw, but we do have another instant speed thing in here that helps us draw even more. A Corrupted Conviction is a 1-mana instant speed. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. So it doesn't say a creature or artifact, but that's totally fine because this is only 1 mana. Cool. I mentioned some of the sorcery speed things, and that is our removal. We have a couple Annihilating Glares. This is a 1-mana sorcery speed. As an additional cost to cast a spell, pay 4 mana, or sacrifice an artifact or creature. Okay, so potentially you could just spend 5 mana at sorcery speed on this, which in this build I don't think happens very often. Or artifact or creature. Okay, so what does it get to do? Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Not half bad, dude. In the right build, I think this is actually really good. The only thing it's missing is that instant speed, unfortunately. But it honestly might be a little bit gross if it was instant speed too, so. Another sorcery speed one, Rite of Oblivion. This is a 2-mana sorcery. Rocking those Orzhov colors up there. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a non-land permanent. Exile target non-land permanent. Nice. And then it also has flashback for 2, a white and a black. Pretty good card. Pretty good removal, honestly. While we're going over the removal, we also have a Get Lost in here. 2 mana, instant speed, destroy target creature, enchantment, or planeswalker. Its controller creates 2 map tokens. It's not going to happen often, but every now and then, you're going to target one of your own creatures, especially in a build like this. So, for example, maybe you have Vraan and Greedy Freebooter on the board. You can totally drop that Get Lost on the Freebooter, create a couple map tokens of your own, get that treasure token too, get the Vraan ability popping off as well. Now, I think it's usually better to keep removal for the opponent, but you never know, man. Like that could totally be a line of play. Okay, one of the reasons to go detective is to try out Private Eye. It's a 2 of in here. This is a 3 mana, 3/3. Homunculus detective. Other detectives you control get +1/+1. That's cool. And whenever you draw your second card each turn, target a detective can't be blocked this turn. And with all this card draw, I know it's like a lot of it's at instant speed, but it could totally be a line of play to do it on your turn and make it so that way one of your detectives can't be blocked and you actually get a solid swing through. And this can totally target itself, right? Target detective can't be blocked this turn. Yeah, it doesn't say other detective, so you could totally slam it onto this 3/3 and get a free swing in, right? So you have a top end here too, a couple Sheoldreds. Because we're drawing so much, just like that extra life gain is going to go the extra mile. But like, do we need to justify why Sheoldred made the cut? No, probably not. We also have Devouring Sugarmaw in this one. This is a 4 mana creature horror. It's a 6/6 menace trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token. If you don't, tap Devouring Sugarmaw. Hopefully we have plenty of all of those to sacrifice to this, but it's also in here for the adventure side. Have for Dinner is a 1 and a white instant speed. Create a 1/1 white human creature token and a food token as well. Pretty good value on a creature, honestly. So we can kind of consider that like another instant speed thing that we could keep open here. Like maybe we could keep the Drag the Canal open with the Have for Dinner adventure side as well as like a Get Lost. So there are plenty of like instant speed things to potentially keep open for the opponent's turn as well. Now the mana base, guys. Okay, we're opting for a fast land with the coasts and the Darkslick Shores and no pain land this time round, and all for Raffine's Tower. So a very slow land, but I think it's going to be necessary in a 3-color build like this. Outside of that, we got the Abandoned Mire, the Soaring City, and the Seat of the Empire. Realistically, we are very much just splashing blue in here, so I think this lineup makes sense. We are heavily leaning towards those swamps because that's what the deck is leaning towards. Only 23 land as well. With all the 1s and all the 2s, I think 23 is going to be perfect for this build. Some honorable mentions over here, guys. I thought about the Restless lands and Restless Anchorage in particular to generate some map tokens that we could eventually sacrifice to all this sacrifice nonsense. Didn't make the cut this time around. I'm just opting for as many fast land as possible since I do think the Raffine's Tower is already going to slow us down enough. Okay, guys, hopefully that's everything. Let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. Okay, we'll see if we can get right into that first game, but in the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? Oh, buddy, I think it's going to be super jank, but I think it's going to be fun. Other words, I wouldn't be making a video for it, so... but I do think it's going to be pretty janky. Okay, we go first. This is a solid hand, bro. Oh, yeah. This is totally solid. Get that Raffine's Tower down turn 1 here, no worries. Seachrome Coast for turn 2. Means, okay. Well... right into the Homicide Investigator. We could have also kept the Have for Dinner open, but like they could like drop a land past their turn and then we run into a counter spell, right? So better to get our creatures down when they only had 1 mana. At this point, Swamp is better than Plains. Start with a swing, I would say, right? Okay, 2 gets through, and I suppose we attempt Homicide Investigator number 2. Oh, it lands. Very nice. Annihilating Glare is not open as it is sorcery speed, unfortunately. Okay, third mana comes down. Man, we had a free turn last turn, guys. That's pretty good. Drag the Canal. Okay, we get to keep those open. Get the plains down. I suppose we go for that swing. No reason not to when they have 3 mana. I don't even think we'd hold back if it was 4 mana. Would we hold back if we're swinging into a Wandering Emperor? Probably not, right? All right, pass it back. Let's see if a Depopulate lands. Thirst for Discovery, okay. I'll tell you what, if they go 4th mana, Depopulate, and then we restock our board with the Have for Dinner and the Drag the Canal, that's actually like really good for us. Oh, Mindbreaker. It is going to be a Depopulate. Wow, okay. We get a little bit of value from the Investigators because they work with each other. Okay, and then we start with Drag the Canal, as the Surveil might have us change our lines a little bit. Get Lost. I'm not sure how much that's going to do, although it could help. At instant speed, it could help with the Mindbreaker on Earth, right? And then we hit it before it swings. Yeah, we should keep that on top, huh? Restocking this board. Let's go. Have for Dinner. That's pretty sick. Okay, so we could get the Devouring Sugarmaw down. We could start with a draw. I think that's totally fine here. Okay, Raffine's Tower. Do I keep this to cycle? Probably not. I think having more mana on the board's totally fine for this build. Swing for 3. And now we have Get Lost open with the food or a clue. So if they go Mindbreaker, Unearth, okay, Repair and Recharge, one with the Multiverse, that is in fact an enchantment. So we are going to want to hit that right away. As soon as they let us drop this Get Lost, we want to hit that one. Oh crap, they're getting a free Inner Sun. All right, well, on the stack here, totally fine, right? Do we want to wait to see what they discover now that they already got the benefit? No, it's like one with the... but the problem is they could bring it back again. Dude, this is going to be rough business, huh? Okay, so they already got the benefit of the one with the Multiverse. I'm going to wait to see what ends up happening here. A little bit of patience. Now it says pass to end. Okay, we should probably take care of this while we have the 2 open. And unfortunately, they get the map tokens and... Oh, the Inner Suns discovers at the end. Oh, Realm Breaker. Okay. Dude, we're in trouble, man. We're in a ton of trouble. They could easily bring back one with the Multiverse next turn, too. Sheoldred's not bad. Got 3 on the board. Annihilating Glare hits creatures and planeswalkers. If we get Sheoldred down, play our Abandoned Mire, we could draw, gain a little bit of life, run right into a board wipe though, right? My apologies, opponent. I am thinking, buddy. Devouring Sugarmaw just chilling over there, waiting to get removed by their board wipe as well. If we play that. I think, well, first things first, right? We swing for 3. Get them down to 8. Sheoldred, they end up drawing down to 6. If they do wipe the board... Okay, so we'll play the Abandoned Mire. They have 2 open. Or the draw on the clue while the Sheoldred's down. Is it going to be spot removal for the Sheoldred here? It is in fact going to be spot removal. At this point, I might as well get a little bit of life gain with the clue. Even though it looks like their win condition might be mill. Drag the Canal isn't terrible by any means. So the Inner Sun, the full ability here is spells you control can't be countered. And at the beginning of your end step, you discover 5. And that discover 5 is going to be a huge problem. Sunset Revelry. Oh no, back up to 12. Let's see what they hit with this. Sunset Revelry. Oh no. Oh wait, they didn't cast it. They wanted to save it for now. I mean, that would have given them the life gain. I guess it wouldn't have given him the tokens though, huh? So Braids is good. Braids is pretty good. Might double block here, then we'll get the tokens next turn. We barely get anything through. If we just play Braids and just sacrifice one of our 1/1s, then we can play Drag the Canal in our turn too. That doesn't seem great either though, does it? Actually, maybe it does seem pretty great. My apologies, opponent. There's a lot to think about here. And like where their blocks go matter, and where their sacrifice goes matters. So if we sacrifice like a map, they sacrifice a map. We don't want to take the 2 here. So we've exposed that we have a Braids. Let's see if that changes their where they end up blocking. I don't believe it does. Okay, they're going to end up taking the 2 and trading there. Okay. So Drag the Canal is open for like all the extra value, which I suppose we do, right? Now we could sacrifice the 2/2. They end up... Okay, Greedy Freebooter. I don't know what we're looking for, but I guess we're looking for more power than Freebooter, right? Right? I guess so. They'll have Annihilating Glare open. We could do that. Make them lose their 1/1. Sacrifice our 2/2. Draw off of the Braids. This is, like, a little bit ridiculous. But I gotta be real with you guys. It's going to start leaning towards the opponent in no time, dude. They have a lot of value. So I'm going to try my dandiest to get all the value necessary. So now we do Detective, and they don't have any creatures to sacrifice. So they're going to take 2 from the Braids. And what this does is less creatures on our boards means maybe they don't end up wiping the board. It's probably going to be Sunset Revelry back up to 12, 2 more blockers. Depopulate. Oh, yay. Okay, so if we would have kept the creature back, the Depopulate was probably going to land anyways, so they just would have picked up 3 creatures instead, you know? Sheoldred's pretty good. Ooh, a couple Rite of Oblivions. That could go the extra mile, huh? What did they discover here? Repair and recharge. Opponent. That's gotta be it, right? We could, like, Rite of Oblivion, we could exile the one with the multiverse, but the big target that I wanted to hit was the Inner Sun, but now one with the multiverse, just giving him free spells. That's definitely the new target. Okay, something to play. It looks like as much mana on the board as possible is totally fine. 17 cards remaining. We have to... they're tapped out over there, luckily. The Homicide Investigator, and we have to exile that one with the multiverse. This Rite of Oblivion earlier, instead of the Get Lost, would have been pretty darn good, huh? And then our other Rite of Oblivion will hit the Inner Sun. Probably the map token, although drawing's pretty scary. No, it's probably the food token, because we don't need the life gain. There we go. Now that's in exile. They still have Sunset Revelry to bring them back up to 12 and get a couple more blockers down. That's particularly scary. And then at the end of this turn, they're going to discover 5 again. Dude, our deck totally held up pretty well against this. How about it, guys? Let's see what they end up hitting here. Depopulate! What? Oh, okay. They decide not to cast it, though. Since they have the chump blockers anyways, they say it's totally fine to hold back for when you get something better. Maybe it'll be Sugarmaw then. If we do that, we won't have enough mana for the Rite of Oblivion. Unfortunately, Raffine's Tower being our 4th tapped land to hit this board means that, well, a lot of our lands would have come down tap, actually, this late into the game. We'll start with the draw. Because we might see something that changes our line, but I think it's going to be Fanatical Offering. Could try to draw an untapped land off of that and cast that first. Probably not. It's going to be Rite of Oblivion to take out you. And we have 15 cards remaining. Map token we might end up finding. I should have done the map token first, huh? To get see if we got the investigator to a 3/3. Because then maybe we would have had a good swing with it. Okay, well, we are out of our tokens. Let's see if we end up seeing land here. I think it would have been map token first would have been the most efficient thing there. I'm going to keep the Raffine's Tower just in case we want to cycle it and just play the swamp instead. At this point, running right into 2 of their 1/1s isn't great. And I say we just hold back for now. Especially since they can just chump too if they decide they don't want to trade into this. Homebreaker Invasion. That mill's rough. Hold on now, hold on. Since we're so low, would the actual target have been the Realm Breaker? Probably not. Like, the Discover 5 every turn is super brutal. The opponent's value was through the roof, man. Seriously. Looks like a very brutal Esper control, question mark? What else do they have in here that requires a black mana? Not 100% certain, but there must be something in here. Okay, well, we have a ton of mana now. A Devouring Sugarmaw is going to start tapping itself down, unfortunately. Try to get some map tokens if we sacrifice our Investigator. Let's just see if Sheoldred hits the board, and then it's okay if our Sugarmaw starts tapping itself. Faithful Mending. A lot of life gain. They're back up to 16, too. And with Realm Breaker, the match is going to be over before we know it. If the Sugarmaw lands. They want to go get lost. We do get a couple tokens here. That might mean that they don't have... This is a lot of draw. Having a lot of draw in hand against a mill strategy is super scary, dude. Okay, I'm going to pass again. Although this, maybe I could have cheesed 2 through because maybe they wanted to keep 2 open to be able to block the menace. It's a tough decision, dude, for real. The big thing here, now that we have map tokens, depopulate. Did they top deck that? Because what was the point of going get lost on the Sheoldred other than just not taking 2? Because they could have saved the get lost. I think they top decked that, guys. That's super brutal, man. All right, let's start with the Fanatical Offering. At this point, the clues are a lot worse, and we're going to end up milling ourselves here with all this draw. Braids, hey. Dude, these control decks, huh? I've been running into a lot more control, and they have been relatively brutal. With 3 mana still available, we totally have enough to get the Investigator down and pop a map onto the Braids or something. Or onto the Investigator would probably be totally fine. Let's hope we don't see a land on top. Oh, well, there we go. We are officially milled out. Womp womp. I guess the Seachrome Coast. And then they go Realm Breaker. Mill the last 3. Game opponent. Ton of life gain. I do wonder how much life gain they actually ended up getting here. So at that point, we would not... Well, there's a potential where we wouldn't have gotten milled out had we exiled the Realm Breaker. That being said, if we let them keep the Inner Sun, they could have found another part of their mill strategy off that Discover 5. Which actually wouldn't have been... good game, opponent. I forgot to drop them the GGs. That was a good one. Mind Breaker is 7 mana, so they wouldn't have been able to pick that up on the Discover. I wonder how many more Mind Breakers they actually had in there. I can't imagine they only have 1, right? And at that point, if they're running Mind Breaker, they probably got Jace packed in too. And same concept with the Realm Breaker, and the Jace can totally get picked up by the Discover ability too. Oh man, that's like the 2nd or 3rd time this week I've been milled out, guys. We gotta watch out. maybe having all this extra card draw isn't as good as I was thinking either if we are running into a lot more mill strategies. When it goes first, this is not a bad hand at all, is it? Right? I don't think so. I'm keeping this. Okay. Hopefully a different build. Hopefully not control, right? Although if it's not controlled, if we run right into aggro too, then that's equally as scary sometimes. Drag the Canal. It's just control is like super tough to go up against, and the matches are always really long too. Sultai. Huh. I'm sure they don't want to use like a go for the throat on the freebooter right now. Gonna be Snarling Gorehound and a Rubblebelt Maverick. This is most likely gonna be an Insidious Roots build then. Right? Sultai Insidious Roots is pretty explosive. Luckily, Rite of Oblivion hits the Insidious Roots, and so does Get Lost, which is in the build. I wouldn't mind attempting the draw. But we do all of it on their turn, right? Or maybe they block. Braids down now wouldn't be great. I think we keep the blocker open and then keep like Drag the Canal open too. That makes sense. I hope so. We have a lot to keep open here between Offering and Drag the Canal, and I think it would be if they swing, we block, then we Drag the Canal and get a bunch of benefits from that. Geologist, okay. Sky Turtle, let's go. Okay. Are they gonna go for the swing? Because if they don't go for the swing, then we go for the Fanatical Offering instead. So we accept this trade, we get a little ramp, and then we go Drag the Canal for a huge benefit, right? Now that goes to the grave, and they'll get to go ahead and use that ability. Oh, actually, I should keep the land on top. We're going to need that. But wherever they stack their counters, we have a bunch of removal for, is the big thing, so. At the end of their turn, we'll go Drag the Canal. Homicide Investigator. Yep, so we want the land. We'll have one open. We can go Braids, or we could go... Actually, we go Homicide Investigator on top. 1, 2. Okay, now I guess we want to draw the swamp next turn. Then we can get the Braids down and get the ball rolling with these artifacts, and probably ditch the clue and keep the treasure. Have the Annihilating Glare open too. This is activate only as a sorcery, so they want to do that when the Insidious Roots is actually on the board, then, is my assumption. They have a good double block here too. They're just going to go ahead and get the Braids down and be happy about it. And then we're going to, yep, keep everything back. No attacks. We're going to go ahead, sacrifice the clue, because we do have plenty of card draw here between the Braids and the Offering. So keeping that treasure is much better. Another Archaeologist, so still no Insidious Roots from the opponent. Oh, there's one. And at that point, they bring that back with the Archaeologist ability, because it says non-creature, non-land card from among cards milled this way. Cool. Very neat. So they're going to attempt the setup there, and then Rite of Oblivion will hopefully be terrific. So a third Fanatical Offering is not good, man. That's not great. We might want to start with the Fanatical Offering, see if we see an untapped source, which might not be easy. Easier said than done. Have a map. Homicide Investigator is non-token creatures. Sacrifice there. If we go Fanatical Offering, right? I will risk it and say we could totally find an untapped source. Like I said, easier said than done sometimes, though. Oh. A 1 mana card is totally fine too. Freebooter hits this table, and Freebooter's perfect with the Investigator. Again, no great swings. Although if they double block here, then the 3 from the Braids might get through. We technically should have swung before anything else. Okay, so they decide no trades into the 2/2. Worthwhile, I would say. What do you guys think? Ditch the map token for now. Our hand is nice and stocked, but at any point, Insidious Roots could absolutely pop off, man. So we got to be ready with that Rite of Oblivion right next turn to get rid of that. I'm going to stack some counters. They are not going to put all their eggs into one basket, it doesn't look like. Oh, they're going to take a turn for another Archaeologist. Okay, another Sky Turtle in the grave. Okay, yeah, no swings from the opponent. I'd say our swing was totally worth it last time to see where they ended up going. So untap Source from the swamp means we'll have a couple of things open here. Well, first of all, we want to go swamp. We want to go Investigator. Then we want to go Rite of Oblivion onto the roots. Freebooter. We get Treasure Token. We get Clue. Inspector is totally fine. I'll keep that on top. That exile's pretty huge for us, man. Now we can go... I kind of want to save the Annihilating Glare for something a bit more extreme, right? That's only once each turn. Trading the treasure into another Freebooter just to have another creature on the board is totally fine for now, I'd say. No attacks this time around. I think their blocks got a little bit better here. Ditch the Clue. And it's down to 15. Okay. Not bad. Like, both decks are trying to do the setup thing. They just have so many good blocks there. Luckily, like, another Insidious Roots, Rite of Oblivion's flashback is ridiculous, bro. And then we just ditch the Freebooter. And then we get a bunch of tokens again. The tokens we sacrifice to Braids. Like, we got a nice little engine here, but... Hey, Soul Cauldron's pretty good. Yeah, the problem is... Once these have a counter on them, like, you know, a 1/4 is actually decent stats, kinda, sorta. You know what I mean? So... Could totally ditch the Rite of Oblivion to get rid of the Soul Cauldron, but I don't think it's doing too much for them, although they will be able to get some good counters. I'd rather save that for another Insidious Roots, right? So another Investigator is pretty decent. We could go into Fanatical Offering. More card draw. See if we see an untapped source. Ditch the Freebooter. Whole bunch of tokens. Uh-oh. Counter spells exist when they play blue. Oh, it's going to be Sky Turtle. Okay, Braids bounces back to hand. It's good tempo for the opponent. Private Eye. Heck yeah, dude. We keep that on top. That's what I'm talking about, huh? That's awesome, man. No untapped source. I think more mana is totally fine to get down. We can spend that treasure. We should still save the Annihilating Glare, I would say. And we'll get the Novice Inspector down. I apologize, opponent. My turns are taken forever, bro. They'll have Soul Cauldron. Oh, Rite of Oblivion! Bro, that's right. That would have been instant speed anyways, right? Oh, crap. Yeah, Soul Cauldron doesn't have to exile creatures. And that's what my brain was thinking the whole time. Exile target card from a graveyard. Losing that Rite of Oblivion could be devastating. So would it have been better to just attempt the flashback right away onto Soul Cauldron? Yeah, absolutely. Well, we wouldn't have done as much on that turn. The tempo play with the Braids was really good for them. I don't know. I don't know what the best I mean, that was the best thing for them to exile for sure. But had we spent 4 mana for the Rite of Oblivion just to get rid of Soul Cauldron, it honestly doesn't feel like it would have been worth it, right? So maybe this was fine still. So Private Eye comes down and buffs our entire board, but we still are going to have trouble getting through with the Archaeologist, although we are going to start swinging because they have a lot worse blocks once this board gets buffed. Although we do have to be careful about the +1/+1 counters from the Soul Cauldron for once each turn. Gonna go Repossession, grab a couple Gorehounds from the grave. Okay. And their blocks continue to get a little bit better. I would say we take out 1 Archaeologist with a Glare, and then with Private Eye, we go that full swing. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, surveil 1. Okay. Okay, Seachrome Coast. Another Investigator on the board before going, like, Annihilating Glare would be pretty good if we wanted to ditch one of these, but it's not. It's not that. It would be Private Eye, buff everything. We'll go Annihilating Glare, ditch a clue, get rid of one of their Archaeologists, right? We could still go Fanatical Offering first. I don't know if that's worthwhile. I want to get one of these full swings in, man. We still have enough for the map token, too. We'll go on to the Inspector. Taking some of their blockers out of the equation is totally fine. See if we see that untapped source off the map, too, right? No, it's going to be a Freebooter, which I'll totally keep on top. That's fine. All right, full swing. Let's see where the opponent ends up blocking here. Because they could triple block, but I don't know if that would be very good for them. Double block with a Soul Cauldron counter. No, this is still a great full swing, regardless of where they end up blocking. They put a counter onto, so that's a 2/5 now. Okay. Yeah, with a little bit of patience, I think we can totally get there this game. Okay. Are they going to take 6? No? Okay, they want to take out one of the Investigators. And we take out the Gorehound. Okay. We want to make sure we hit that first. They're taking 9 here, guys. That's huge for us. They are keeping some good blockers. A couple more clues. I'll totally get the coast down since if like we wanted to draw a lot, or like there does seem to be a lot of things to do every single turn, so just more mana on the board is going to be excellent. Snarling Gorehound, that's the other one. Okay, I wonder if they were holding this Insidious Roots back, or if they top decked. Wait, they top decked that, right? Because we knew they had the other Gorehound. Wait a minute. No, this was the other Gorehound. I don't know, actually. They have a terrific wide board state, and we have nothing to do to remove that Insidious Roots, and they're going even wider with the Soul Cauldron, guys. We're in trouble, man. We're definitely in trouble. Fanatical Offering, Freebooter on top. We know we're not drawing like a Get Lost. Is Braids the only way through? If Braids is the only way through, we don't have that many turns. Like the plants go wide and insane really fast, and they definitely have enough creatures in the grave to just keep, so do we, to keep the Soul Cauldron going. Oh, dude, we're in so much trouble. How do I want to do this? Our full swing is really weak now. So like Private Eye. My apologies, opponent. I am thinking, buddy. Private Eye's ability, we'd want to draw before anything else, and I think it would be Fanatical Offering at that point. And I'll use you and you. Fanatical Offering. Ditch a clue. And we'll call, I suppose, Private Eye to swing. Keep the other ones back as blockers. Oh, Rite of Oblivion. Oh, my goodness. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So, I mean, there's absolutely nothing else we want to do other than get rid of that. And then get Braids down for the turn 2. Yeah. That's how we want to do it. Private Eye swings, gets past the blockers, get the Braids down. And we should be okay again. Get rid of one of the clues. See if they get rid of the Soul Cauldron. They take the 2 we draw. Okay, dude. Seeing that Rite of Oblivion off the draw was huge for us. They top deck another Roots. Holy cow, dude. This Private Eyes are like only hope here. Right? They get rid of the Rite of Oblivion with the Soul Cauldron. Really, really good. They power up Restless Cottage. They swing. They get another plant from the Insidious Roots. That's so good, dude. They veil a couple times. Yeah, luckily, Private Eye, we just draw off the clue. So we can go no blocks down to 18 easily. So all we got to do is draw off the clue. Private Eye gets through. That's actually really sick, dude. It's actually really, really cool. GG opponent, really good game. That was back and forth, man. I had no idea who was actually going to get there. We only got 2 games in, guys. They were pretty long. We're 41 minutes in. I would go another one. Unfortunately, I have a lot more videos to record today, too. And I actually think that the matches showcased the deck beautifully, luckily. So let's go in. Let's talk about the list one more time. I should have tried to take a little bit less time to go over it, but sometimes these builds, especially when we have so many new cards, what's this? Apply styles. Oh, I got the Private Eye style. Dude, let's go. It's too bad we didn't get the style before this. That way we could have actually played with it in this video. Private Eye, man. This was solid stuff. That was terrific in that last game, huh? And all the card draw was kind of insane. It almost felt like too much card draw sometimes. A lot to think about. Usually in sacrifice style builds, there is always going to be a lot to think about all the time. In this deck in particular, there's a lot of moments like, oh, when do I hold back? When do I just keep my instants in hand? When do I keep Drag the Canal? Is the opponent going to swing? Am I going to get that chump block in? Like there's like so many things to consider in this build. Luckily, I think I played it out well enough, hopefully overall. Maybe some mistakes here and there, like potentially not casting that flashback with the Rite of Oblivion when we held the priority. I believe we would have been able to go flashback onto the Soul Cauldron, and that could have gotten pretty dangerous really fast. And we saw how important it actually was to be able to hit a non-land permanent, but then also to be able to exile non-land permanents too. All that's very important. That being said, do we want to go up a 3rd Rite of Oblivion and drop an Annihilating Glare? Maybe, but probably not, because we have a lot. Like, look at the curve. We are like heavily leaning into the 2 mana spot. If we push even further into 2 mana, it wouldn't be that disruptive if it's just 1 Rite of Oblivion, I suppose. But I think instead of dropping a Glare, I think I would drop 1 Drag the Canal. We drop that down to 3. We go up another Rite of Oblivion. And then we're like splashing blue even further. I still think it's worthwhile, the splash of blue for the Soaring City. Although when you are running 3 colors, the mana base is going to hold you up every now and then. It didn't really hold us up today. It felt pretty good actually, didn't it? So if we look at the splash of blue, we got Soaring City as extra like a potential tempo, I suppose. And we got Drag the Canal, which was actually pretty good today. A lot of value in this, really easy to get it to where a creature dies. And you look at this again, it says if a creature died this turn, doesn't even have to be your creature, dude. So if you had 3 mana open and you go like Annihilating Glare, ditch one of your clue tokens, hit one of the opponent's creatures, then you could still go Drag the Canal and get all that benefit from it. So that's really cool. So there's the splash of blue. Is it worth it for a complex mana base? I think so. A Private Eye, especially, that was so wild, man. Actually just being able to get there. And you know what? A lot of decks in general have chump blockers all the time. Even that first game where we were up against Control, they relied on the Sunset Revelries to have chump blockers as well. So if we were able to slip by the Revelries in that first game with Private Eye, would we have gotten there? Probably not. I think they had a terrific control over our build, and I don't think Private Eye would have even had a chance to survive, right? So there's the splash of blue. So if we drop a Drag the Canal and go up a Rite of Oblivion, you can see it's going to even be a further splash. So at that point, if we think about my honorable mention here, the blue-white restless land that generates map tokens, if we're splashing blue further, I would potentially drop like a Seachrome Coast and go up that restless land just to have an extra excuse to have blue in here, right? Because it takes blue to power up that little birdie to get those extra map tokens. Swing in the air after like board wipes, like we got hit by multiple depopulates in that first game too. It's going to be another slow land, and the slow lands definitely do hold decks like this up often. What I noticed too is after we got past turn 3, like these coming down tapped wasn't even that bad either. We just always had a lot of stuff to do all the time. Greedy Freebooter's Extra Treasure was really, really good too. Didn't get to see Corrupted Conviction, but I do think it's totally fine in here, especially at instant speed. You do like to have that when we are holding so much open for the opponent's turn anyways. So yeah, guys, lots to say about this one. Novice Inspector, it's just really good, man. 2 cards for the price of 1 that you can sacrifice both into the Braids too. And unfortunately, well, no, I was going to say unfortunately Braids struggled a little bit, but not really. We got a lot of value on Braids in that last match, huh? It's like I said, even though we only played 2 games, I feel like we showcased the deck really beautifully, didn't we? The top end didn't get to see too much either. At that point, would we drop the entire top end? Probably not. It's still pretty good to have something on the top end to curve into, and Sheoldred just wins games in and of itself too, just by punishing the opponent for playing Magic, so probably still worth it. But I'll tell you what, if you don't have anything on the top end here, you know, Sugarmaw's rare and Sheoldred is a mythic, of course. If you, for some reason, don't have these, I could totally just see going up more 1-drops or something. Or, like, I could see dropping, like, the Sheoldreds going up that Rite of Oblivion. And, like, another Annihilating Glare isn't going to hurt anything, but also just, like, more removal that maybe doesn't rely on having to sacrifice something. So, like, a second Get Lost, for example. Or, like, a Cut Down if you're up against a lot of, like, mono red and stuff. Cut Down is always going to be good. Except Cut Down doesn't hit Godric. Is Cut Down always good against mono red, though? And, like, you try to cut down a Swift Spear, and then they drop a Monstrous Rage. Maybe Cut Down isn't the choice for mono red. Well, you guys know what I mean. Your choice of spot removal to go up, too, could totally be fine. Outside of that, I would probably put this on the do not craft list. While it felt fun and it felt fine, there's a lot of rares, right? Like Investigator's totally rare, and then Drag the Canal is a new rare as well. Actually, is that it? Is that the only new ones? Of course, Vraan is rare and Braids is rare, but like Private Eye is only uncommon. That's pretty cool. And Inspector's only common. A lot of the removal and the card draw is common and uncommon. The Get Lost is rare. Oh, but the mana base too. Okay. I would probably put it on the do not craft list, unless it just looks like the most fun you'd ever have playing a deck, right? Guys, if you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. Definitely check out in the description. We have the Discord link as well as that Patreon link too, if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. It's a great place. The Patreon is the best benefit from the Patreon, like I always say, is to make sure that you get your suggestions played here on the channel. So I'm a little bit backed up on comment suggestions and Discord suggestions. That being said, I still do my dandiest to try to play as many of them as possible, but the patron suggestions always take priority over that. So, okay, guys. Hey, enough rambling. I will see y'all in the next video.